Sheets is on his way back. He'll be back tonight. We'll have him back for the rest of the week. So for those of you who are going to ask, that's just wanted to give you guys a heads up about that. Wanted to remind everybody, please like the videos, and you can sign up now for 25% off your first month of TrueDFS, promo code BobbyFi NBA. Coming off of a very, very solid NFL day, one in the morning showdown, one a little in the morning showdown. And then the main slate, I did really well. I had a chance to win the 333 Wildcat and just came up a little bit short, ended up in seventh. The CeeDee Lamb fumble, they ended up counting a fumble at the end. It dropped me back to seventh instead of sixth, so it cost me an extra $5K in that one and about another $7K overall. But still a very good day. Felt good about the process. Nice to have the best week so far of the NFL year for me, and ready to get into some crazy basketball today. This is a monster slate. It's not for the faint of heart or whatever we call it. It's really, really going to be a tough one. So we're going to try and navigate through it and make it small. That's what we try to do with big slates. And I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to go game by game, talk about potential people to use. We also will be live at 6 Eastern to do the NBA with you guys. And just a reminder, I don't believe there's no NBA games tomorrow. So just wanted to drop that in there. All right, so let's get into it. Starting off with, why do I have Houston still tagged? I was trying to do a little digging at first. So, all right. So Golden State, nothing right off the bat stands out as being a great play. It is like Draymond back in Detroit, if you want to make that a thing. He's a Michigan State kid. There's always rumors that he was going to end up going back to Detroit. I think that he would be my favorite play. Steph has been awesome, but it's really hard for him to get there from a fantasy thing when everybody's healthy, unless he just goes completely nuts. We know he can do that. So Steph's on, not a guy you write right off, you don't want to cross him out, but certainly not somebody I'm trying to overly play tonight. I do think Draymond is in play, though. So I have Draymond as a possibility here. On the other side, Detroit, really like Asar Thompson, really like Jalen Duren in general. I just don't know that I'm going to get to much of them today, but I do think Duren or Thompson would be the best plays here. And that's probably about as far as I'll go in this game. I'm not, there's better stuff to like later. There's in news that might come out. You never know. So you want to see how that plays out. But anyway, moving over to Dallas, obviously can always play Luka. Kyrie's been off to a slow start. I think that changes at some point, by the way. It's getting to the price where maybe we start considering it. Probably not going to be on this slate for me. If we get a ton of extra value, I might consider Luka. I might even consider Kyrie, but I just think that it's probably better plays to be made. I don't think the projections have fully updated. It's certainly not the ownership yet. We'll get Goldie's updated ownership a little later. But you can see that the value here, because of Markelle Fultz being out, is definitely interesting. Whether we go with Anthony Black, but it should be more usage either way for Paolo and Franz. And Jalen Suggs might also get a boost here. So I don't know what to do right now with it. Black seems like the most logical play. For now, I guess I'll tag him, but I do think that I just have Orlando written as a team I'm going to want some exposure to today. Dallas doesn't play defense. This is not the slowdown Dallas of a couple years ago. This is a team that plays a lot. It's a lot different with Kyrie there, without Dorian Finney-Smith and stuff. So I do want to take advantage of that, especially when Orlando's a man down. But they do have a lot of bodies still. I just think you want to get some exposure to the Paolo, to the Franzes, and then maybe to consider, which one you want to pick, Suggs, Black, or Cole Anthony. I think that I would most likely at the moment be going with Black, but we'll see how that ends up going later on. We have Gafford questionable again. We have Abdia questionable again. Nobody is still standing out for me here. I'm telling you, there's going to be some nights where we wish we had Jordan Poole because he scores 40 real-life points. Could this be a night? It doesn't seem like the dream scenario for it, but I'm again, not going to totally cross him out. Poole and Kuzma are at these prices sort of always in play, but you need the game to stay close, and I am a little worried about this one. On the other side, regardless of whether Gafford plays or not, it's a tremendous matchup for Embiid. I think that he is a guy you want to consider as potentially spend up. So I actually have Embiid as one of my favorite spend ups right now. And at the same time, I don't think I'm going to get to Maxey, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's a great matchup. So you really want to try and think about these guys. Maxey, Kelly Oubre, DeAnthony Melton, all of these guys are fine, but I think Embiid is going to be my priority here. I have no problem, though, if you wanted to go for Maxey. Again, going to try and go for later games outside of this one, because this is a game that We don't know about Wembanyama. We'll know before lock because it's, the first slate of games at 7 Eastern. But if Wembanyama is out, Zach Collins is already a pretty good play anyway. So I have the Spurs just with this. I have this whole game. I have interest in this whole game. I just want to know what's happening with Wemby, McDermott. If everybody's in, I think Wemby and Zach Collins are still pretty strong plays, and I think you could get some Bronham exposure as well. I'm open to the Trey Jones thing and Sohan, but right now I just have this game. I know I want to stack it. I don't know how I want to stack it yet. I am going to prioritize on the other side Tyrese Halliburton. I think it's also a very good matchup for Miles Turner. So I really like those two. And I think this is a really good spot to try to get a game stack. I don't mind if you want to use Bruce Brown as a filler. Same with Matherin. And then Jalen Smith getting minutes at 4,200 is something that's worth considering. But I don't have it as a priority or anything. I do think this is a game that we're going to want to target. Both teams play really fast and should be a track meet. Hopefully it stays close if you do end up stacking it. Lakers at Miami. Hey, LeBron back in Miami. Is it a thing? I don't know what to do with the Lakers tonight. I think that the best thing is probably just to avoid it. But it's not a great matchup or anything. But I do think that LeBron being back in Miami at 9,600, it's a reasonable play. Anthony Davis reasonable, but nobody I'm probably going to get to. And on the other side, Jimmy Butler is definitely someone I wouldn't mind getting a little exposure to. But again, not a priority for me. Not a game that I love for DFS. I'm not that crazy about it. All right, well, we're going to just, for DFS purposes, cross off the Clippers probably, although it wouldn't surprise me if Kawhi had a game here. He's 8,600, reasonable, but you've got Harden in the mix now. We'll see what happens with Westbrook's usage. It's just going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, right? So right now, nobody for DFS purposes, though, for me. On the New York side, I think that, it's going to come down to RJ Barrett playing again. So we have the Barrett question mark. Whether or not he plays, and if he doesn't play, we go back to the same things of Josh Hart, who's been moved up to 5,300. I think I still would have interest there. We moved to some Emmanuel quickly, and we would even consider some Quentin Grimes, although I wouldn't consider any of that a priority. And obviously, Brunson and Randall become strong plays as well. So really, a lot hinging on whether or not Barrett plays tonight. We'll find that out hopefully a little bit later, hopefully before lock. Milwaukee at Brooklyn. Look, it's tempting, right? He has not looked like the same fantasy producer that we've seen in the past. They're still trying to figure things out. It's a good matchup. I'm open to the idea of using Giannis tonight at 10-6. It depends on how much value we have. I prefer Embiid, but I'm definitely open to the idea of using some Giannis tonight. And I actually wouldn't cross off Lillard in this matchup either. This could be a big scoring game for them. And on the other side, I think it's kind of interesting that no one really wants to play these guys anymore, the Brooklyn guys. I know that with Dinwiddie back, it does, sort of kill a little bit of Cam Thomas's upside. Dinwiddie, though, is in play. Ben Simmons is in play. I think all of these guys are totally in play, and I just don't think they're going to be owned at all. So Brooklyn is a team I don't mind getting exposure to. I don't have a priority here. Ben Simmons would be the closest thing, I guess. But I'm not going to go out of my way to do it. I just think that all of these guys are definitely in play, and maybe you could just take the ownership angle. Hey, we're getting guys at 1% that have 50+ upside in a good matchup for them, especially Cam Thomas, because they play the drop defense, the drop coverage in Milwaukee, and the shooters can shoot. So if Dinwiddie or Cam Thomas gets hot, that could be potentially fruitful for us. All right, moving on, we're going to talk about Sacramento and Houston. This total seems low. I'm actually curious what the actual total is. Let me just go. I'll go to the RG page real quick because it is weird that SaberSim has this game so low, such a low total on this game. I guess that's just what it is. That's what we're dealing with in the year 2023. I understand that they hit the under last time. I think they're going to hit the over this one. This feels like a pretty safe bet, actually, to me, that they would hit the over. From a DFS perspective, boy, it feels like we should have something we want to do without De'Aaron Fox here. It's been kind of tricky. So I guess the best option, I mean, it's a bonus, obviously, in play. Malik Monk. I think Malik Monk would be my favorite for upside, maybe Chris Duarte. So I'm going to put Sacramento with a question mark also here to see if I want to do something later. I don't have anybody that I want to prioritize as of now, but without De'Aaron Fox, there's definitely room for some of these guys at their ceilings. Houston's defense has been a little better, played a little slower this year. But I like the Houston side of this. I think that, Jabari Smith and Şengün are both really strong plays, and I don't think we're going to have much ownership. I also like Fred VanVleet, and I think this is a an interesting spot to target because without Fox, you can try and find the run backs, maybe Monk with Şengün and VanVleet, or with VanVleet and Jabari. That certainly makes sense. And then even Jalen Green deserves a look here at this price. So all of Houston definitely in play in a matchup that I consider to be a little bit better maybe than Vegas does. And I think these guys are definitely all in play here, and you could definitely see a ceiling type of performance. But Jabari being my current favorite, we'll put a little tag on him for the time being, just because of the pricing. There's another guy that we're going to run into at power forward pretty soon that we're going to want some exposure to at the same price or similar price. All right, Boston and Minnesota. Nothing wrong with Derek White here. Nothing wrong really with any of these guys. Just nothing that stands out of any of them, if it being a great matchup for any of them. Still like the price on Jaylen Brown, like the price on Derek White, but probably going to be on the outside looking in terms of actually rostering players. On the Minnesota side, I don't have a specially interest in anything, but I do want to throw out that I think Naz Reid is always a good tournament play. Do we want to play that on a 12-gamer where he's going to have some ownership? I don't know. We'll leave that one up to you. As of right now, I'm certainly not prioritizing him, but I could get behind it for tournaments for sure. On the Utah, and going on to Chicago, the Utah side of things, it's still, John Collins is still fine. If he was 5,600, he probably would be double-digit owned today. He's not going to be. I think Jordan Clarkson is starting to take the reins a little bit more. So I think Clarkson or Horton Tucker is pretty much all I'm going to have from this game as a priority. Actually, I don't even know if I'll have it as a priority, but they're definitely both in play, Horton Tucker or THT. I think they're both strong plays. In Chicago, on the Chicago side, it's the same rules, right? We can we're going to get one of Levine or DeRozan, and I don't know why. Where's the projection on Vooch? Yeah, and Vooch. One of those three, basically, as long as they're in this price range, is almost always going to get there. It's a really plus matchup. Levine is sort of the guy I would probably go with the most, but I think it's a strong matchup for Vooch, and I think it's a strong matchup for DeRozan. So one of those three, I think you can put on your priority-ish list, maybe secondary priorities, but I would have Levine as my priority of those guys, and I think you could consider some Kobe White also at 5,200. That's interesting as well. All right, moving over to Atlanta, and wow, this is weird. It's going to be a big drop. All the games, it's 12 games, and they all end by 6 p.m. That's the last one starts at 6 p.m. That's pretty wild. All right, Atlanta. Let's talk about it. This is a spot I want to attack. Jalen Johnson I have as a priority. Okongwu strongly in play, but probably one of those plays I get to early in the day and don't end up there, just because there's going to be other stuff that opens up usually on these big slates. Really, it's Jalen Johnson and one of Trey or DeJounte. I think both of Trey and DeJounte have upside here, and I would side a little bit more with DeJounte, but I'm telling you, we're going to get those monster games from Trey pretty soon. OKC's been playing fairly fast. You've got the rookie starting in Cason Wallace. He's going to look like great from a projection standpoint. I just point out that he played 36 minutes the other night and only had 17 fantasy points and 13 real life points. So he's not initiating as much of the offense. I think we go right back to all the other guys, to Chet, to Jalen Williams, to get some exposure to Giddey, some exposure to Luke Dort. Isaiah Joe is another one. All of these guys I'm going to have sprinkled throughout my lineups. I probably will have a Thunder in a good portion of my lineups. And if I was going to do a stack with this game, it would be one of Trey or DeJounte with Jalen Johnson, running it back with Jalen Williams, and either probably Chet or Giddey or Dort, something like that. That's my early look of the way I would try to do it. But I do like this game as one to target. You can see the high total and all that. All right, moving over to New Orleans. So we have Zion, we have Ingram. We don't have McCollum. Obviously, Trey Murphy's still gone. This should be a good spot, like a decent enough spot to take a shot on these guys. Do we want to play Ingram? I'm I'm open to everybody. Nobody's making it as a priority, but maybe that's a mistake that one of Zion or Ingram we could go with here. And I certainly don't mind the Dyson Daniels idea, but as of right now, probably a little bit also on the outside looking in, although I'm not sure that's right. I might have to revisit this one and can consider playing a little bit of Ingram Zion. Because I feel like without the McCollum usage, it should be a big enough boost. And I don't know. I think we should definitely consider it. Jokic, always terrific play. Can you get to him today? Maybe. I have him behind Embiid today, but I don't think it's that big of a gap. So favorite spend ups, spend all the way ups would be Embiid, followed by Jokic, followed by, I'm going to take the Giannis shots as he's a little bit cheaper than the other guys. He's got forward eligibility, but I do think that that's the way I would rank it right now. My favorite, though, actual spend up, that's a little cheaper is Halliburton. He'll be in the most of my lineups tonight. Jalen Johnson, as I mentioned, and then I'm going to edit my core a little later, but I'm going to, for right now, save my core and show you guys what I've got for this morning. I will update it for the site members a little bit later and let you know what I have when we have a little bit more news and a little bit of a better feel for the slate. The projections sort of round out and account for everything. Let me just go to this. Whoops. And we will go to my core. This is the way I would start my lineups today as of right now. And obviously, I mentioned a bunch of other names that I think are interesting, but these are the guys who just make sense from a cash and tournament standpoint. I think they have limited risk and pretty high floors and solid enough ceilings for us to use in tournaments. So that's a quick first look. Good luck to everybody today. I will get my the rest of my content out this afternoon. The early builds and I'll do all my exposures and all of the core plays. I'm sure I'll have a bunch more to add to this list. I'll also do it for FanDuel as well, and we'll do the early builds, and we'll also do the plays of the bets of the day, which has been in NBA pretty much the nuts, and it's actually been going well in NFL. I only went 4-4 yesterday, but it's been pretty solid. So check that out. Reminder to please like and subscribe. Get 25% off of your TrueDFS membership with the promo code BobbyFi NBA, and let's crush it tonight, guys. Good luck today. I'll see you guys soon.